No, dead. They're all dead.
Mamma mia!
The following views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the producers, hosts, and or guests of the Bitter Marks podcast. We assume no responsibility for any errors or omissions in the content provided.
Listener discretion is advised.
Bitter Marks! Bitter Marks! What's up, smooth ladies? Welcome to Bitter Marks! It's your favorite non-wrestling wrestling podcast coming to you every single Friday morning at bittermarks.com or wherever you get your podcast from. It's your first time joining us. I hope you're here. We've been having so many issues here, video and audio and otherwise. This might be going out to nobody, but we'll find out shortly, I suppose. Anyway, if this is your first time joining us, this is not a wrestling podcast. We do not talk about in your house results that happened this past week, but we may talk about in your house results that happened from 22 years ago. We will talk some wrestling. We will talk non-wrestling. But thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being here. If you have any questions, feel free to email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. My name is Sasha. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined by my dear friend. It's Peewee. Woo! Howdy! How you doing?
Oh.
I didn't realize I had to balance this on my headset as well, but I got my my little mock-up Macho Man monster truck hat all done up and finished. What do you think?
That's not the full-sized one, correct?
Correct. This is about 1/16th the size of the real one.
That's great. So now you have to. Are you going to do the paint work on the big one?
No. I'm not going to restore anything. I'm not touching anything. I wish it was better on the actual one. Many people have asked if I'm going to repaint it, but it's not. My understanding is it's not going to stay with me for too long, which I still can't talk about too much. And even if it was, I think I would just leave it as it is.
I dig it.
Right.
And at least you have this small thing as a remembrance.
That's right. I paid too much for this thing to hang on to it forever, and I have to eventually let it go. And I've only had it for like a month or maybe a little bit more, but it's still been too big of a part of my life. It's taking up way too much of my garage, and I'm going to be sad when it goes. So I knew I had to search out believe it or not, this thing is a hard hat.
Wow.
Yeah, right. You would wear this on a construction site. It is rock solid. I had to take out the insert that you hold it on your head, so this was very uncomfortable to put on when I was practicing it without the headset. Didn't realize I was going to have to deal with that. But yeah, we might use this at a Halloween costume or something. At a minimum, it's going to sit on my shelf.
I am going to replace the whoosh noises that we normally have with you knocking on that hat. That was fantastic.
Sounds good.
And we are joined this week by the punctual prince of podcasting from parts unknown Illinois. It's Producer Tony.
What's up, everybody? How are we doing today? I made it just in time. I had some Windows updates. It felt like a psychological thriller where somebody's hacking into the computer and he just gets in barely before the whole place explodes. That's kind of how my day has gone in the past 10 minutes.
I'm also having trouble here. I had to adjust settings in Skype the microphone would not be picked up. It does this thing where it automatically changes the microphone settings or whatever. And I turned it off and it's still doing it.
Goddamn Steve Jobs, motherfucker.
And then outside of that,
always messing with shit.
My YouTube is not working. Which is a great sign. And there's some sort of bug that we talked about weeks ago. Me and Peewee had that. It's a mess over here. I see Putski said "Good God" in the chat. I don't know what that means. Are we all on echo? Are we all disappeared?
That hat is awesome. I hope that you're like just wearing that around the house.
Please let us know if there are any errors. We're obviously having.
They might also be saying "Good God" because of this new camera angle we got going. Look at this. I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It hurts my eyes to look at the computer. Things are going well. Except in my personal family life.
If it didn't hurt so much,
it's not something I wanted to talk about, but it came up right now as we were recording. Guys, I don't know what happened to Boner. Like, he's gone.
No.
Boner, my fish who lives behind me. He's not in his cage. He's missing.
Everything.
Oh no. The Boner was abducted?
I've searched for half an hour before this podcast started. I should have been doing audio setting stuff, but he's gone. Wait, like legitimately.
Yeah, in the bone zone. But define what gone means, as in like belly up, or he's missing.
Try and find it. You know, after the show is over, that's not a bad idea because like I'm not really sure. It's embarrassing. Okay, so I have this recurring dream where, like, I guess it's a nightmare.
The rest of this live stream is just going to be you turning your camera towards your fish tank and us just...
And he pops out and I don't see it, and then he dies on my floor, and then, like, I have to move, right? Like, I can't live in this house. But the other thing that, you know, it's a possibility that could happen is that my dog could eat Boner,
That's
his
exactly
own
what
cousin.
I was going to say, because your dog is vicious, and... I could see her taking down the Boner.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and the fact that I can't find Boner, it's not like a huge tank, you know. It's a 10-gallon or 20-gallon. I don't know what it is, but some sort of tank. So anyway, hopefully we find Boner by the end of the show, and if not, then next week tune in for Rest in Peace Boner, that episode.
Oh, now the chat is saying that I'm sounding a little robotic,
and I don't apologize.
My audio is cutting in and out. Just know that we are, if that is the current problem, if that is currently going on, know that we do apologize and that there is nothing I can do about it because I know nothing about this and I can't exit out of everything because that would
you can go about your day. Come back to us on
if
Friday.
If it does continue,
thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
If it does continue, I can just be quiet and you guys can just.
Speaking about all about the business. We're having some business this weekend, and that business is the Billy Joe Travis Memorial Crockett Cup Tag Team Championship Invitation presented by Ball Scraped from the glorious Apple Orchard Resort. Pending. If you are listening to this when this episode drops on either Friday morning or Saturday or whatever, this could be, we could be golfing right now. I don't know what your deal is, but if you're listening on Friday, you can still join us, I guess, if you feel like it. It's going to be this Saturday, June 19th, 11 a.m. And look, I want to say this. We have a group of, for sure, 7 of us, which is 3 tag teams and Peewee, okay? This tournament is named after Billy Joe Travis because it's a tournament of honor. You know what I'm saying? Billy Joe Travis is an honorable man. Yes, he was arrested, the only wrestler in the history to be legitimately arrested on television for not paying child support. That's okay. We've forgiven him for that. The world has forgiven Billy Joe Travis. But it's a tournament of honor, and I want to make sure that the guys who are there, we're all playing with respect to the game, to the course, and to everything involved. I guess this is a speech I should have had on Saturday.
No cheating is what you're trying to say.
No cheating. Yeah. Billy Joe Travis would not like us to cheat. This is face Billy Joe Travis, not heel Billy Joe Travis.
If you want to cheat, you got to go to the Jeff Jarrett tournament. And that's a totally different tournament.
So we do have some tag team matchups going on. And the tag team matchups I want to say are, it's going to be Swick and Dogan are together, right? Swick does not leave the house. unless Dogan is there. So they have to be together at all times.
they're a package deal.
Now, with the rest of us, there's an interesting situation. It leaves me, producer Tony, Putski, and our dear friend Goff. And then, of course, there's Peewee, who is going to be either the referee of the entire thing, floating back and forth, or potentially a manager for Swick and Dogan, or the third option is Team Bitter Marks, me and Tony, managed by Peewee, taking on Goff and Putski,
a manager,
taking on Swick and Dogan, or it's me and
or what? What's the third
Putski,
option?
let's say, versus Tony and Goff versus Swick and Dogan, with Peewee as Swick and Dogan's ref, because that guarantees that we will have one victor of the Bitter Marks podcast. One of the hosts will be on the winning team. So either we can all win together, or at least one of us wins. I don't know. What do you guys prefer?
I like that thinking. That's very smart. I will say this: I know that you're worried about the honor and everybody upholding the
what about
legend
a bow tie?
that is Billy Joe Travis and wanting everything to be
yes,
upstanding
tank top
and on the
bow
up and up.
tie.
And I totally agree with this, but what I will not do, because I looked at the weather and I think it's going to be hot, I cannot wear a referee shirt on Saturday.
Well, anyway, the lowest score wins the 3D printed golf
just
trophy.
The bow tie,
that producer Tony
right here, baby.
That? Show
right
that
here.
to the camera. That goes to
definitely
the individual winner, the lowest score. And then the lowest scoring tag team.
Right.
All right, guys. Well, guys, you've known me for a long time, right? You know that I have no life skills, no outside of life skills. I bring no value to this friendship. If you guys hadn't known me for 20 years, you probably wouldn't be my friends. But you do know that I like to have a good time, and I like to make sure that other people are having a good time. At least I try to. And I like to have surprises if I can. I'll spend my own money and pay off credit card debt for years just to get laughs. See producer Tony.
Absolutely. That is absolutely.
Where's this thing? There it is. Oh yeah, half face. But anyway, I did something. The awards are in for the tag team, okay? And I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but I will say the awards have been custom made by me, and they will be unveiled either live on Instagram. We'll tweet them out. We'll do whatever on Saturday. I imagine we're going to be doing some sort of live feeds from the Apple Orchard golf.
Is Periscope still a thing? Can you Periscope still? Is that still a thing?
I think as long as it's not from Peewee's computer, I think we can still do it. But yeah, I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I kind of have given a hint, and that's where I'm gonna end it as far as the awards go.
All right. So
outside of that award, I also have a little something extra that I think you guys are, at a very minimum, gonna laugh at.
All right, I'm in. I'm terrified, but I'm in. How's the games? Because like I've been golfing a few times already this year, and I feel like I'm in a good spot. But like, Sasha, when was the last time that you golfed?
I think the last time I golfed, I was drinking.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's
so 6 years.
Okay.
I want to say when I moved in to this house, me and Dogan went golfing at the Apple Orchard Resort.
Okay.
And that was probably the last time that I swung a club. Even though he's been calling me the past couple weeks, and I've been blowing him off. Yeah, it's not pretty on my end. It's going to be ugly.
Putsky in the chat. If you're still watching, please sound off in the chat. When's the last time that you golfed? Because I'm just kind of getting, because we know Swick's not going to be good at golfing. Swick's not good at anything.
I think Swick and Dogan have a chance to win this thing.
I think Dogan is the sleeper. Dogan's like suspiciously good at everything. Like, we used to play softball with Dogan.
To size everybody up and figure out where he's at.
Yeah, I believe it. And he's been like practicing. He's been going to the driving range. And Swick, by the way, Swick's a golfer as well. Not a pro. He's not a professional golfer. But he can swing the clubs. I will do worse than Swick. And golf, I don't know that he's ever golfed before. It's not just his name. It's I just think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be madness. I did try to get a hologram Billy Joe Travis to show up. It was too much money. I legitimately have tried to contact Billy Joe Travis's family members via Facebook.
Wow. Yeah, what's wrong with you? Yes.
Listen, I was trying to get a representative from the Billy Joe Travis.
We're going to get a lawsuit instead, you idiot. Stop it.
Leave these people alone.
A lawsuit from what? There's nothing here but love from the Billy Joe Travis estate. So I am a little bit worried about the weather. Like, if it's too hot, potentially next year we might have to have a Billy Joe Travis darts tournament, or maybe a Billy Joe Travis pool party, or something that is a little bit cooler. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm happy for it. I can't wait to see you guys there. And we're going to take some pictures. I bought a Polaroid camera. We'll get some Polaroids. We'll sign them. We'll sign them for no one. It'll be fantastic.
I could not be more excited. I haven't seen a lot of those guys in a very long time. And getting out on the golf course, talking shit. And I want to see Peewee in a bow tie. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Peewee seems to be heavily delayed on our stream that's going on. So I don't know what we should do. Is we could cancel the stream, I guess.
We can, it's up to you. If you want to have a little behind-the-scenes talk in front of the scenes right now, we could absolutely pause the podcast. We can close the stream. We could restart the stream and then pick up the podcast. We can do it however you want. Right now, I listened to it on my phone, and the chat is exactly right. I'm delayed. My audio is delayed by like 20
Which is
seconds.
weird, because on the Skype call, you're perfectly fine. Right.
It's fine. Yeah, agreed. And my audio is recording.
So like I said,
fine, so
pick it up in the audio version if you're struggling to get through the technical difficulties. We apologize.
We'll just keep going, and we'll hope that Peewee says something offensive, and that's, I guess.
It'll be covered up. It sounds terrible. Like the video is going to be unwatchable, unlistenable. If you're just listening to this, if you watch our YouTube video just for the audio part, if you turn this on in your car via YouTube, I definitely suggest you go download Spotify or iTunes or whatever else there is out there. But you can't even hear this anyways, because you can't understand what I'm saying.
Bittermarks.com. Bittermarks.com.
Let's talk a little bit about wrestling heels and faces. These are the figures that we talked about last week. We didn't have good pictures, but they recently tweeted out. There it is. Look at those beautiful figures that they got going on. $40, not bad at all for the detail of those pictures. You got Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, Earl Hebner, Dino Bravo without a gunshot wound, and Sabu with stab wounds. I wanted to kind of just ask you a couple questions about them, Peewee, because, I mean, we're looking at it. They're doing the 2-week pre-order, as it says there.
Yeah.
But they're doing it with capped at 2,500 pieces. I like the idea of capping it. I don't know is 2,500 pieces a lot? Like, do you think they're going to get there? Are they going to sell 2,500 of each?
Oh, I have no idea.
It seems like
to me, this is just a marketing, not a ploy because it's legitimate, but it's just a strategy, a marketing strategy just for the people in that Major Wrestling Figure podcast group, right? And in that group is about 3,000 people.
Oh.
So I think, maybe it is a little under, specifically on the Myers and Cardona figures. They are limiting those. I think you can buy, it says 2 per person. on each figure. They did a pre-order. We talked about this last week. You were correct that the public is able to order them this Thursday on the 17th. Last Wednesday was the pre-order in the Facebook group. It was the secret pre-order thing. In that, you could order 2 of every guy except for Cardona and Myers. There, you could order 3. In case a lot of the guys in that group want to keep one on card, keep one to open it, and then the other one they're going to keep and store away because they think it's going to be worth some money down the line. And I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm not judging that opinion. I don't really care. But it is interesting that it's only limited to 2,500 on those 2 specific figures. Because I think those 2, the Myers and the Cardona, given their fan base, and it's a specific wrestling figure fan base that they're appealing to, that those 2, I think, may reach the 2,500. But I don't think Dino Bravo is getting anywhere near 2,500. Sabu, I think, is very, very cool. Maybe Hebner. But that's the tier system.
What if the French-Canadian mob buys all of the Dino Bravos and shoots them?
There you go.
Well, there has to be at least, what's the math, 1,250 of them, because there's a limit of 2 per person. I guess it's possible.
I am surprised by the price. They said that the price was going to be somewhere between $40 and $50, and they came in just under $40 each. I said this last week. I still think that's too much for me to take a shot on these. I don't know how good of the quality it's going to be. Nothing against the guy. Everything that Zombie has put out so far has been good quality. I've just never seen him put out figures before, and it's a big investment, so I'm going to take a step back from these.
I think he's done everything right. I also love the little spot on there where it says, each wrestler gets paid a percentage of every sale.
Oh, sure.
Like
Absolutely.
I think everything that he's done, including that 2,500 pieces, I think that's a pretty high number, but I do love the fact that it's hey, if we sell out of this thing, there's 2,500 of each, and that's it. There's no more. There's no, that's my problem with collecting other stuff is I don't know how many Dusty Rhodes figures there are. I don't know how many Shawn Michaels figures. I know Rey Mysterio has 300 different figures or whatever. And how many of each one is made. And I'd love for that knowledge. I would love to be the guy who collects one specific Rey Mysterio figure, but there's only 500 of them. So you just try to collect all 500 of them, be an asshole. So that,
wow.
You know what I mean?
That's a ridiculous way to go about this. But
I'm just saying.
I would love for somebody to try to get somebody out there try to get 2,500 of the Dino Bravo. If you're going to be able to collect one of them, it's going to be the Dino Bravo.
I don't know. That Earl Hebner looks pretty slick. I like that.
It does. It has interchangeable hands too, with a 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, agreed. They do look good, but to me, it's the seams where I don't want to get too into it. I don't want to bury this product too much, but I do think they look cool on the surface. But I get where the joints meet up, the lines where the joints are. They look like the gaps are too big. But again, these are prototypes. These aren't the finished product. Maybe I'm just looking too deep into it. As a toy guy, these just aren't for me.
I'm going to get 2 of them. I'm going to get 2 Sabus, one to open and one to keep, and hopefully have him stab it one day with a fork.
You can sign it in fork stabbings.
Do you have any updates for us, Peewee, with your indie ref stuff going on?
Oh, you know what I do? Last week I left it I did the show on when was that? A week ago, 2 weeks ago, as of the last show. I did that show, and I talked to the promoter, and we left on semi-good terms, minus the critiques that he was giving me. And then I also said last week that he had a show on July 10th. Is that when? No, not July 10th. July 12th. Nope, the 13th. Whatever this past Sunday was, the 13th.
14th.
So he had a show on the 13th that was coming up. And I was talking about this on the 8th. And I said he does have a show coming up. It's the only show that I know that he has. But I'm not going to pursue it because I don't want to be known as the guy who constantly comes at this promoter and is looking for work last minute. Hey man, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday. I know you have a show this weekend. Do you have any extra spots for me? Do me a favor. I did that with the first show. I got booked a couple weeks out of the first show that I did for him, and he was nice enough to put me on. I don't want that impression to continue. I want to be seen as a professional, and I want to seem like I know what I'm doing. And constantly contacting him 5 days out is not doing that. Then on Saturday, I got a Facebook notification. Mark Bitters got a Facebook notification that said, "You've been tagged in a post by Dave Hero." I clicked on it and looked at the post. Dave Hero is the name of the promoter. And it was a post that was promoting the show on Sunday, on the 13th. I looked at it, I went, okay, that's, like, I'm not close friends with Hero. I mean, he knows my name. We've talked in DMs on Facebook, but that was about it. This is either a marketing thing, like he's just trying to tag as many people as he can. But then I saw he only tagged like 18 people, and he has thousands of followers. So I don't think that was it. Or does he think that I'm working tomorrow? The show was taking place in middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. And I didn't have plans. I didn't have like business plans, wrestling plans, or anything. I had plans to go to my mom's surprise party in Joliet on Sunday. And that wasn't something I wanted to miss. I scheduled that because I didn't have anything else going on. I didn't have a wrestling show. But then Saturday I get this message saying, "Hey, you've been notified. Dave Hero tagged you." I'm like, okay. Well, now, before I didn't want to be known as the guy who was asking for short notice bookings. Now I don't want to be known as the guy who's not showing up to bookings that he made and forgot about. How do I figure this out? So I decided to shoot Hero a text, and I just asked him. I said, "Hey man, I saw that you tagged me in that post. Don't know if it's for marketing or if you did it because I was booked for the show. But just so you know, just so you're aware, I didn't think I was booked. So I have a family matter to attend to tomorrow. So I wouldn't be able to make it, and I don't want you to be left without a referee. I don't want you to realize, 2:30 day of the show, looking around for a ref, you thought I was booked, and I'm not there." And he almost immediately got back to me. He said, "Hey, man, no problem. I did have you booked tomorrow. I thought Cross told you about it."
Oh, no.
And, right. So I was actually booked for the Sunday show. He did have another ref. I was one of 2 refs that were booked for that show. So he was just fine.
Wow.
But luckily, I messaged the guy, and so I did not come off as the guy who just no-showed. I think. I mean, I still came off as the guy in his world who kind of was booked and then got out of the booking the day before. So I'm not loving it.
That would have been the quickest bridge burnt in the wrestling history.
Absolutely, that's what I'm. And this is not a bridge I want to burn. Hero is a staple in wrestling. Like, he has guys go in and out of his territory constantly.
Yeah, that's not ideal, obviously, but it's definitely better than just not showing up.
Not showing, yeah. Right? Exactly. I'm at least trying to show that I care and I am looking into it, and I don't know. So I thought I handled that as best I could. I don't think Cross told me about the show. This could be on me. I could just be forgetting about the show. My memory, I've said that before, is terrible, but I believe a booking like that, I think I would remember. Then 2 days after his show, 1 day after the show, so this was yesterday, he posted again on Facebook, and this time he was promoting his next show. And he said the next show is July 10th. And again, middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. But I looked at the card. I didn't even look at the card. I just saw that Cross and Luxon were on there again, my buddies. And I messaged Hero and said, "Hey, just saw that you announced that next show in a month. Do you have any openings for a ref?" He said, "Yeah, absolutely. Come on down." So I do have a second booking with Dave Hero on July 10th. That's definitely the 10th. And that's with GCLW. GCWL. I'm horrible at this.
GL, maybe Great Lakes Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, Great Lakes Championship Wrestling. That's what it is. GLCW. I'm still shaking the rust off. And then after I got that booking, I then found out that it's a double shot weekend. He's doing one show in some middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, and then about 40 minutes from there, he's doing a second show the next day on Sunday. And that show I didn't know about. So I contacted the Hero again and said, "Hey, if you have any openings on Sunday, I'd do that too." And I sent that yesterday, and he just has not gotten back to me, and usually he responds immediately. I think what my plan is going to be, I called Cross, and I just asked him. I said, "Hey, there's a double shot coming up. I assume you're booked. Assuming that is true, I would love to, meet up with you on that Saturday. We can all drive together, and it'll be me, him, Luxon, and then Cross's kid. And then if you have a couch or a floor or something, I would love to spend the night at your place. And then assuming I get booked the next day, we can drive to the next show." Because he lives in that area. I versus me having to drive back 2 hours, then go right back to the same area the next day. It's not even 2 hours. It's like 3+ hours. So I'm just trying to save myself some drive time from Saturday night and Sunday morning. And
just stay at Swaggle's house.
That's an option as well. But I sent that via text to Cross, and then Cross called me right back. Like it's the first phone call I've taken in like 6 months. And him and I talked for like 20 minutes today. And he's like, yeah, of course. You're not staying on a couch. I've got a guest room. You'll stay in there. And whether or not you're booked on Sunday, just plan on spending the night. So we'll do the Saturday show. We'll drive back on Saturday night. We'll have a cookout. Me, you, Luxton, we'll all hang out. We'll grill. And we'll hang out Saturday night. And then if I'm booked Sunday, I'll do the show again on Sunday. And if I'm not, I'll just go home Sunday morning, well rested and not having to drive in the middle of the night. So I've got bookings for July. I am set and ready to go, and we'll see what happens next month. Oh, also the July 10th show. I don't know that I'm reffing this match, but I do know that Val Venus is on the card.
Oh boy. That's Val Venus with a Q. Is that?
That's right. That's exactly.
I can't think of a better way to top off that weekend is with a Val Venus match. So hopefully the gods will bless you, and we'll have some great stories for the podcast. Hopefully,
you could borrow my "Make America Great Again" hat if you really want to. Prediction update: this past weekend was NXT. I got 4 out of 5 correct. You guys each got 3 out of 5 correct. I don't have updated results, but we also have Hell in a Cell this weekend. So next week I will have the full recap of all that stuff for you guys.
Okay.
Last week, our dear friend John in Washington, he actually requested that we talk about a certain Shawn Michaels autograph situation, and we just didn't have enough time last week, so I thought we would get into it. However, I only know bare bones about this, so Peewee, I'm going to let you take over this.
Okay, this story has made the rounds a little bit. It was directly talked about recently on the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. They referenced it. They're getting into cards, they're getting into autographs, and so this story kind of popped up. And from there, after they talked about it on the air, is what I'm saying, is that other news outlets picked it up and they started posting about it. So you've probably seen this covered elsewhere. If you haven't, you're in for a trip because this is crazy. Tony, have you heard anything about this?
Nope. This is
it's nothing new. So Shawn Michaels, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna put a picture in the YouTube page. This is a Shawn Michaels card. Right? It's got Shawn's autograph on it. I believe it says the Heartbreak Kid or something.
I see something that is a little... it's sticking out, let's say.
It's sticking out.
There's definitely a phallic symbol sticking out. But now, so what the autograph's done, it looks like the word the THE, the E sticks out on the bottom line sticks out, and then heartbreak, I'm guessing, is what that bottom line says. Or maybe it says Shawn. I don't even know what he's spelling up here. It could just be scribbles that lead to this very phallic looking symbol on the right.
I believe it says hardbreak.
It's definitely questionable, right? Now you would think that, okay, this one card popped up. Maybe Shawn was just messing around. Maybe he was just having a good time. But it's not just this one card. There's this. There's another instance over here where it looks like he's signed it in a different way, where HBK's on the right and not on the bottom, but he still is in the middle, included this phallic shape, right? Here's another one.
That's my favorite one so far.
I know what I'm getting Sasha for his birthday.
These are all over the place.
Yes.
Look at all these phallic images all over these Shawn autographs. Okay, so how does this happen, right? Nobody knows the real story. The only justification that I can come up with, like, I don't think Born Again Shawn would be doing this. Maybe he would. But my guess is that Rockers Shawn, DX Shawn, to me, this is something that those Shawns would do and would just incorporate into their signature. And now, maybe we're 15 years later, and let's see if I can get Tony in here. Now that we're 15 years later, maybe this is just how he...
Watch out.
And maybe it's just like instinct now, and this is just what a Shawn autograph looks like, and this phallic symbol is just embedded into it. But this is literally, you can Google HBK autograph, and every one of them has this phallic looking symbol, and some of them have like balls underneath. They're all, it is, there's a range to them, but there's also one very similar theme throughout all of them. It is, if you're not watching the YouTube thing, definitely tune into the YouTube just for these pictures.
I love it. TV happened this week, as it does every week, but wrestling TV is what I wanted to talk about a little bit. WWE's got that memorabilia show, whatever it's called, greatest whatever
treasures, hidden treasures, something. Yeah.
Do you know who the guests were this week?
I didn't know it was still going on.
Mark Henry and The Big Show.
Wow.
I believe next week they're gonna have Jungle Boy looking for Jimmy Snuka
Kenny Omega's
stuff.
boots.
Yeah, it was just kind of shocking. I haven't watched it yet, but I just thought that was really interesting. I watched an Andre the Giant biography. I want to say it was from a couple years ago. Maybe it was on HBO or something.
The HBO one?
Yeah,
that was a very good. That was very good.
That was Bill Simmons did that. His production company did that one a couple of years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's the one. I'm thinking it was, but A&E showed it, and I'd never seen it before. I thought it was interesting and good. They're actually doing one on China this upcoming Thursday. Which, if you're listening to this on Friday, it happened yesterday.
I was going to ask. I didn't record the A&E one this past Sunday, and I don't think there was one. Are they done with the A&E ones?
Yeah, I also didn't record it, so I'm not really sure. They were showing like all the ones that they had already shown before, so I think they're at least done for now.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't know. They've all been okay. It's not like shitty or anything. But
no, I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed the access, and just hearing from Vince. You don't get to hear from him too often, because I don't watch WWE that much. So
yeah, I think there's a China one that is on Access TV. I don't think it's going to be on A&E. So I'm not sure if you guys have Access TV. That's the channel that Impact Wrestling is on. But I do want. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
Did you happen to catch, or Peewee, I guess, did you happen to catch the Dark Side of the Ring Dynamite Kid this week?
I did. And I gotta say, I remember the British Bulldog as a singles wrestler.
You don't remember the Bulldog?
I have no memory of the Bulldog tag team. So, like, the Dynamite Kid is a name that I've heard a lot about, but I have no idea who he was. So the whole thing was new to me.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I knew Dynamite Kid had some sort of like shady past or something. I feel like all of these things are common knowledge, but it's like common knowledge that I had 20 years ago, and I probably forgot
exactly
everything.
What it is. Right.
And so now it's just
everything included in these documentaries is stuff that we read in their books. Yeah, I think Dynamite Kid has a book. I'm not certain about that, but if he does have a book, I've read it. But that said, he may not have a book.
I don't know if that guy could read, to tell you the truth, let alone write a book.
It was interesting stuff. I mean, what I knew about him was he kind of had this shady past and he was kind of like a loner, kind of like. I had heard stories of people trying to meet up with him, and he wouldn't meet up with people. Like he didn't want people to see him in a wheelchair and stuff like that. What I learned was he's a scumbag. Like there's no nice way to say it. I mean, all of these things suck. And by the way, Dynamite Kid, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Pillman, Bulldog. I'm pretty sure Jim Neidhart ran a sweatshop in the 80s. Like, this is all the Hart family. Like, all the dark side stuff is all Stu people, right?
Just coming out of that dungeon. You never know who's coming out of that dungeon.
Yeah, the people have definitely talked about curses in wrestling. The Hart family is one of them. The Von Erichs is another one. Wrestling is not good for you. I think that's in general. If you were wrestling in the 80s, shocker, it's not going to be good for your well-being.
I remember
I like these documentaries because it's a dangerous life. They're dangerous people, and I find that interesting. Like I like to see the real stories of the people who are in the business because they hide it so well and so often. So that's why I kind of like to watch these documentaries more than I actually like to watch real wrestling. So I find it very interesting.
And that's wrestling in general. That's been wrestling the past like 20 years. We, for the most part, we and other smart marks don't watch wrestling for the on-screen product. The much more interesting thing is the behind the scenes, is who is getting pushed, who is in trouble this week, what did Velveteen Dream do now, that kind of stuff. Like, people are just more interested in the drama of stuff that goes on behind the scenes because you know it's a show, and keeping us entertained on screen is a lot more difficult.
Yeah, and 20 years ago, like, we knew all these people were shitty, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like, with these biographies, with the dark side stuff, it's just a constant reminder. It's almost like too much dark side, you know what I mean? Even though we knew every story that they've told us, it's just like, here's a little bit more detail, and it's a little bit more grim than you really knew. And I'm sure it's even darker on a lot of these things. I'm still shaken by the Grizzly Smith one. That one.
I still haven't watched that. I honestly don't know if I'm going to.
I would pass on that one.
It was tough.
It was not a good story at all.
It's a tough watch.
But
I want to do something.
Give me stories about was it Too Cold Scorpio trying to stab Hawk with a shank that he made in fucking North Korea? Give me stories like that all day and twice on Sunday, please.
All right, so we were supposed to play the quote game this week, but I did not get a chance to go over the old quotes. It's been a busy week for me, but I did create a different game. And so I want to play a little. It's a quick game, I guess. You'll see the gist of it. It's kind of a, like, pick your favorite out of this, pick the worst out of this, whatever. But I'm going to give you guys a couple different categories, and I want to know how you answer the question. So, the first one, you got to get rid of one from wrestling forever. One of these items. Either no more tables, no more ladders, or no more chairs.
In wrestling, not in my kitchen.
Correct. Which one are you getting rid of in wrestling?
Tables, ladders, or chairs? Oh, I know. Tony, do you have an answer?
Yeah, I'm going to pick chairs.
Yeah, same.
Because they don't really use them like they used to. Back in my day, people used to take chair shots on the head. Now they just...
You're exactly right. Now they're pointless. It's a gut shot and then a back shot.
It's a stupid prop. They might as well use cookie sheets. So get rid of chairs.
Yeah, I agree. You need ladders because of the ladder matches. You can't get rid of that. And then tables. I mean, tables was a close second to chairs. You don't really need tables, but they're at least... You can still use them. They look devastating, and they're not super dangerous for your talent.
Yeah, and if anybody in the YouTube chat has it's like a triple, basically, any of three things, and you want us to answer them, we'll go ahead and answer them.
Oh, sure, yeah, throw that out there. Somebody give us three of something.
Like Putski's just saying Canadian Destroyer, get rid of it, but that's not...
I think he said, do we get rid of Canadians or do we get rid of Destroyers?
Oh, okay. Ooh. Definitely Canadians. All right, so my next one, you guys can only keep one of these things ever. You can only hold on to one. The other two never happen. ECW, the WWF, or the DCWA. You can only keep one.
Wow. Oh, you can only keep one?
Yeah.
So you erase the other two from existence? It's kind of
correct.
Like
yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, like two of them have said the N-word and are now canceled. And
I believe two of them did.
Yeah, I believe
all three did. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Peewee, why don't you go first on this one?
I'm gonna take the sappy way out of this. Get rid of WWF. Get rid of ECW. Without DCWA, I'm not sitting here with you two fucks. And I wouldn't give that up. I wouldn't give up the friendship with you guys or the friendship with the guys in the chat. It's Yeah, it's and without ECW and WWE, DCWA is on top of the country wrestling wise.
I was gonna say you're probably a WCW fan at this point. What about you, Tony?
It's interesting because like if WWE never existed, I probably wouldn't know you guys. So this is kind of like a paradox. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, right.
Peewee, what you said was very nice. I, on the other hand, would sell all of our friendships for a pack of cigarettes, and I don't even smoke. So I'm going to take the WWF. And
okay.
Just the childhood memories that I have. And plus, I don't want to give the same answer as Peewee. I'm just kidding. I love all of our friendships. Yeah, Putski, you are definitely right on that, and we're not going to talk about that.
I will say this.
Putski's putting bold stuff out on the internet.
We're getting canceled, I think, is what's happening.
The WWF is like kind of how we all know each other, but also me and Tony would have known each other anyway because we met because we hung out at a Limp Bizkit concert.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
and they're coming back.
Our friendship would persevere. That's true.
That's true, and they are playing the Metro. They are a Lollapalooza after show, so I will see you there, producer.
Yeah, I got my red Yankees hat. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Let's call up our dear friend Kurt. I'm not going to give his last name. He's, I believe, manager of the Cottonmouth Kings.
He's probably the street team manager, so he'll be on the street after the show, passing out flyers and CDs like it was like 1999.
All right.
So what was your pick, Sash? What did you pick?
I'm the host, so I'm just.
Oh wow, you're not just pick one.
Come on.
If I gotta keep one, I mean, yeah, sure, the DCWA because that was like our friend one, but
no Sabu.
I'm more curious, WWF or ECW?
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I'm probably gonna go ECW. I'm probably gonna say like screw Hulkamania. I think ECW. Nah, it's got to be WWF. You know why? Longer amount of time. Look, it's 1993 in my life. I'm currently watching 1993 Raws. Okay.
I was gonna say, did Sid ever work in the ECW?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
one of my favorite entrances of all time.
You can sit in both, so I guess you could go either way.
True, and we almost got him in the DCWA. So. Next one up is best eye-related weapon. You have the Morton Salt, you have the Green Mist, or you have Arrogance. There it is.
Ooh.
Now, these are...
We have to get rid of one, or we have to keep one?
You have to keep only one of the three.
Okay.
This is a slam dunk for me.
And now, what's great is... what's his name? John Morrison, current WWE wrestler, has a arrogance gimmick. He has like Miz Juice, or I don't know what it's called. Like he'll Miz in your eye or something. I don't really remember, but it's definitely an arrogance ripoff. And I was looking at these pictures of the arrogance thing. The arrogance can is also phallic. It has like two containers on the side as balls, which I never
it's got a
saw.
shaft that you pump, so to speak.
So Tony, you said this one's easy for you. What do you got?
Oh, it's Green Mist all day, every day. Yeah, Green Mist is great.
No love for a Mr. Fuji, huh?
I mean, he's solid, and Rick Martel also solid, but Green Mist it looks better on screen and live, I would say.
What about you, Peewee?
Yeah, it's more impactful. Not to say the Arrogance is the bottom of the list for me. The Salt is a close second to the Green Mist or any color mist. The Salt is good because it's not salt, it's flour. And the puff of smoke that you get is very impactful, and it really sells like it looks like a cartoon, like a cloud of smoke has engulfed the guy's face, and now you know he can't see. But you can't overplay the impact that the spray has. You buy that it blinds the guy. It looks poisonous, other than that the other guy had it in his mouth, and that the after effect of it being all over his face, and you literally cannot see the whites of his eyes because it's covered in green mist. You really buy that the guy's blind. It's a very, whoever invented it was a genius.
I was gonna say, does somebody who claims the fame of Asian green mist?
Didn't he was in the Dead or Alive, and we all thought he was dead?
Oh,
Who was it?
Yeah.
The Great Kabuki, right?
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, he somehow didn't die, even though he created Green Mist like 80 years ago or whatever.
Correct.
So I threw the arrogance in there, one, because I love Rick Martel, and two, because I couldn't think of any eye-related weapons.
Yeah, third one, sure.
To me, it was like, the Mist is the cool one. That's like the cool, fancy, new age one. Whereas the Salt is like old school, traditional. So I didn't know where Peewee would go with this one. I figured Tony would go Mist. Peewee, I didn't know whether you'd go Salt or not. So
what about the flash paper? Like that, they always fuck up every time they try and do it.
Good call. Yeah, that's the problem though. They mess it up all the time. So
it's too difficult. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I got two more for you guys. This one, Tony, I don't know how you're gonna handle this one.
Oh no. Oh no.
You have to pick one. John Cena's jorts, John Cena's spinner belt, or John Cena wristband. I mean,
I'm keeping one?
You got to keep one and only one. And present it in your house on the wall.
Well, I'm going to do a power rankings here. On the bottom of my power rankings is the spinner belt, okay?
Okay, great start, Tony. Great start.
Number 2, the runner-up is the wristbands. All right.
Oh.
The jorts are number 1. That is his signature look. I mean, everybody wears wristbands. Not everybody can pull off the jort, Janko, whatever short kind of thing he's got going on. Only John Cena.
I thought the
friend of the podcast.
Positive messages of the bands might take over. Plus, it's smaller. I mean,
don't ever forget, loyalty, hustle, and respect. Don't ever forget. But you could also stitch those on those jorts. There's plenty of real estate, okay? There's plenty of room for some bedazzling or embossing. You could just throw those right on there.
What about you, Peewee?
I can't wait for Tony's birthday when I can get him a pair of jorts framed so he can put it above put it on his mantle at home. The jorts is a good pick. I like the belt, but I think it's too much of a go-to. Like, it's too easy of an answer. It's too, if you're a John Cena fan, like, you definitely have a belt. The jorts are too plain. Give me the wristbands and the headband. Not only can I worship at the throne of John Cena, I can also dress up and cosplay as him. I'm going to be John Cena for Halloween.
Yeah, and when you go garage sailing, you won't sweat. You got
that's true. Yeah,
awesome.
We do have a couple suggestions here. Putski chimes in with Moonsault, Shooting Star, or 450, which is an interesting one considering who is on this podcast. I'm going Moonsault. That's my baby.
Pick one to keep or pick one to get rid of?
I think one to keep.
One to keep? And you picked Moonsault. That makes sense. That was your go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd also go Moonsault because it's the most basic of the. It's the most safe. It's the most basic. It's the most old school.
I'll take it a step further. My Moonsault, where you go halfway. It's not even a full.
No, your Moonsault was like I'm gonna dive backwards onto my neck
waiting to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna go Shooting Star just because it makes me think of that time Kowalski almost paralyzed himself trying to do one.
So you want to keep that around?
Yeah, let's keep that around. That's great entertainment. Okay. Let's keep that one.
And then King of Art Justin Tuttle chimes in. He says Peewee, Producer Tony, or Billy Joe Travis.
Oh, I know which way he's going on this one. This is easy. Jesus, nice knowing you, Sash. Jeez.
Yeah, it's been fun, but I mean, it's not the Producer Tony Golf Memorial. You know what I mean? Oddly enough, we did have T-shirts in high school that said "Rest in Peace, Peewee" on them.
Sure did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I never got one, but that did exist.
I guess this doesn't mean that you guys have to be dead. It just means that I can only contact Billy Joe Travis from here on out. I assume you guys are all going Billy Joe Travis.
That's the dream. That's
right.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
Okay. And then we got the last one here. This is, you have to sit through a 2-hour time limit match between one of the following matches. Nick Gage versus Eddie Kingston in an exploding barbed wire light bulbs piranha death match.
This is great.
We have the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and Nick Gage. Or we have Nick Gage versus Steve Blackman. And you have to sit through a 2-hour match between one of those three. Peewee, why don't you give me yours since you had some time to at least kind of...
I wish I would have. I didn't know what you sent me these pictures. I didn't know what you were going to do with them. I was trying to hustle through this as quickly as I could. I barely even looked at the pictures. I knew that Nick Gage was in these. I did not realize Steve Blackman or the Bucks or anybody or Kingston. I still don't know if that's Kingston. Yeah, I'm in just as much shock as Tony is. I would pick Tony's going to kill me here, but I would pick Nick Gage versus Steve Blackman for 2 hours. I don't want to see Kingston versus Gage for 1 minute. I don't want to see. I don't ever want to see Jericho, ever.
Jericho and Nick Gage. Come on, age in the Gage.
No, I would definitely go Gage and Blackman. Let's see what they can do for 2 hours. Let's see what Blackman still got after all these years. I think we're good.
John in Washington says he just threw up in his mouth. Hope you're okay, buddy.
Put that on a T-shirt.
What about you, Tony? What you got?
All right, I'm gonna swerve. I'm gonna take Nick Gage versus Steve Blackman for 2 hours. And here's why.
Oh, it's only gonna last 15 minutes.
Yeah, Steve Blackman's gonna be dead after 5 minutes. He's gonna stab him in the throat with a light tube or a pizza cutter his face off, and I'm gonna enjoy every minute.
I would pay $1,000 to sit front row with the two of you at a Nick Gage Steve Blackman match. I would also love if I could make the graphic this week Nick Gage versus Steve Blackman, but I will not put Nick Gage in any of our artwork.
We respect.
Please do not.
We respect Nick Gage. He is a wonderful worker, probably a great man. We have nothing bad to say about Nick Gage on the Bitter Marks podcast.
MDK all day is what I usually say when I wake up in the morning. So. All right, well, that was fun, guys. I'm sorry I couldn't bring the quote game in. I will try to bring it back for next week, but I thought that was kind of successful. So if anybody thinks of 3 things like that in the future going forward, feel free to send it to us. We're going to do that one again, I think.
Yeah, and thank you guys in the chat who threw out those ideas. Those are very good.
Thanks for the interaction, guys, in the chat. Thank you.
And sorry for the vomit in your mouth, John. We do have some emails and some questions that came in. The first one from our dear friend Hattori Hanzo. Subject Irish Mickey Doyle. He says he found a channel that's releasing big-time wrestling videos on YouTube with the Sheik, Bobo Brazil, Pampero Firpo, and Irish Mickey Doyle. I think big-time wrestling was Detroit's big indie back in the day. Could be wrong on that one. But it would be interesting to see a young Mickey Doyle and if he had heart attacks back in the day. So we will tweet that link out. He also sent us an email that just said, "You're welcome," with a YouTube link. So I clicked on it, and it was Terry Funk. It was a track off Terry Funk's debut 1984 LP, Great Texan.
Oh, yeah.
Terry Funk singing?
Oh, yeah. And the song is called Barbra Streisand's Nose. We will play this audio on the audio version of our podcast. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you also check out the audio because you are not going to want to miss that. I will tweet that link out as well. It is absolutely fantastic. And then last but not least, from Hattori Henzo, it says wrestling ratings in the subject line. He says Jim Cornette has been reviewing the A&E Biography Wrestling series. In his recap of the Bret Hart episode, he mentioned the ratings for these episodes were better than WWF and AEW current ratings. Hilarious if true, but I would not be shocked. I've watched 3 of the last 4 SmackDowns, and there's much to be desired. Walter is ready for his cup of coffee in the big time. He's the future of pro wrestling. WWF cannot keep his shirts in stock. You would think someone would take the hint. The problem is Walter does not want to come to America. He has, and that's been like the rumor from 3-4 years ago before he was even signed with NXT. To now, he's been the UK NXT champion for over 800 days. They announced it.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they announced it today on NXT, and they're like, "Yeah, he's over there, still their champ because he's not coming here."
Vince has a lot of spots open after he's firing everybody, and money can make you do a lot of things. So maybe we'll see. Mr. Walter
is got to be like the most intriguing person, just because he is not coming over here. Like he's just like no. Or how do you say it?
That's the second person I've ever met that said no to Vince McMahon. The first being Pixel Dan. Are you familiar with Pixel Dan?
Only through you. Like, I know his name, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, he's a toy collector, YouTube guy, but he's also in wrestling. He's a worker, and he was doing dark stuff for WWE, and he had the choice of doing like a video game convention or doing WWE dark stuff, as in like security or something. And he told Vince no and showed up to the video game convention, and I yelled at him for about 30 minutes.
Then we have a couple questions from our dear friend at CU Comedy. It's Jesse Tuttle. He's got two questions. One, he says, question for Dan. I don't think I'm making this up, but do you remember Longtime, Love Machine Matt Longtime, being able to make a loud clicking sound with his mouth when he would land a punch? It was louder than a leg slap,
yeah.
And I've never understood how he did it. Am I the only one who remembers that?
Do you remember this?
I absolutely remember it.
Yeah, right. It was a very loud. It wasn't even like a click. It was just
like a pop. Yeah,
with his mouth, and nobody knew how he did it. But he did it on. I hated when it's the same thing. I don't like when Val Venus sells a DDT, because you can't sell a defensive move for everybody the same way, because then it's just like, okay, then you're doing it. Same thing with Longtime. If everybody's punch on the show doesn't have a big pop and it's just yours, well, then obviously you're doing something. But yes, it was better than it. Like you said, it was better than a leg slap. It was almost too good and too distracting, because you wouldn't pay attention to the punch. You would just be like, how did he do? How did he make that sound with his mouth?
And then
he would make this sound everywhere.
Sitting there trying to go.
Right. Very, very distracting. But yes, Putski remembers it in the chat as well.
It seems like everybody remembers this.
Yes,
yeah.
one of Longtime's patented moves.
I'll tell you this though, Marty Scurll is someone who mastered this move, because he does it in a way that where he makes the popping noise with the fingers. So the crowd gets really quiet. He lifts
I like that.
the guy's hand, and then he pops it, and it makes that long time popping noise. And that's way better, because it's like your finger in the socket.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Nobody else on the show is doing that, so it does make sense that one sound effect fits there, and it's a popping sound. That's the sound your fingers would make. It's not the sound a punch would make if it's landing on your face. That I do like. That's good stuff.
And then the other question he asks, he goes, with Bittermarks recently doing their various Mount Rushmores and the ongoing love for Billy Joe Travis, Sasha, what is your Mount Rushmore of the USWA?
Oh,
while we're at it, I want to hear your Mount Rushmore of the NAWF.
Same list.
Interestingly enough, Rockin' Randy could be on both. Well, so here's the thing. Like, so many people wrestled for the USWA who I love.
Sure.
But I take the Mount Rushmore of the USWA as, like, people I know, like, from or because of the USWA.
Yeah, that define USWA. Like, I believe Stone Cold was in USWA.
Yeah,
I would not put him
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would not put him on I wouldn't put him anywhere near the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, same Sabu, RVD, Terry Funk was a USWA champion. Like, all these guys are some of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I wouldn't say any of them are USWA guys.
Right.
Obviously, I'm going to have Billy Joe Travis. Obviously, I'm going to have Jeff Jarrett.
And then, the Ninja Turtle.
He's Cowabunga.
Yeah, Cowabunga. He's in.
The other two, they're also kind of like basic answers, but I don't think you can think of USWA without thinking of Jerry Lawler.
Okay.
He was there the entire 7-8 years, whatever it was. He's like a 30-time USWA champion. He held the belt more than anybody. I mean, obviously it's Jerry Lawler. Okay, you think of him as an announcer. You could think of him as having a heart attack live, whatever you want. I don't know. To me, he's got to be on the USWA Mount Rushmore. And then the last one was tough. It's like, do I go Moondog Spot? Do I go Rockin' Randy, who had a cup of coffee there? But for me, it's a tag team. Bishop is saying Dirty Dutch. If you don't have him, he doesn't know me. Dirty Dutch was like at first my answer, but then I realized I think I know Dirty Dutch more because of Smoky Mountain and because of Music City Wrestling.
Music City. I was thinking Music City, yeah.
Like, that was one of the guys that's like, I love Dutch, but to me, was he ever... I mean, Tony, was Dirty Dutch Mantel ever a USWA world champion?
My computer's doing an update. Sorry, I can't look that up.
So my fourth member is actually Mabel and Mo. It's
Wow, really?
No. PG-13.
Oh.
I have to PG-13 because those I know them as USWA guys. And then of course they were in Music City. Of course they were in ECW. Of course they had their run in the Nation of Domination. But for me, I always think of PG-13 at USWA stuff. They were tag champs. Jamie Dundee came in, as Bill Dundee's son, as like a face, and then turned on his dad, which is great. And I also don't like Bill Dundee, which is like a like he should be on the Mount Rushmore if you're talking about like most important USWA people. He's just, I wasn't a fan of his. What about you, Peewee? What's your USWA Mount Rushmore?
I was very close to putting JC Ice and Wolfie D, the PG-13, also on my list. Eventually I took them off. I honestly don't have a ton of experience with USWA. I did put Lawler on my list. I put Dirty White Boy on my list just because back then I thought it was a funny name, and it was so I enjoyed some of his stuff. I put Jimmy Del Rey on my list. Are you familiar with the work of Jimmy Del Rey?
I'm not, but you sent me a message recently that we need to talk about Jimmy Del Rey. Can we talk about him? Or should we save it for next week? Should we?
We should probably save it. Yeah, I don't have a. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then my last guy I had was Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. Gilbert did some fantastic work in USWA, and more importantly, do you know who he was married to?
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert? No.
He was married to Missy Hyatt.
Okay.
Then they divorced, and he married Medusa.
Wow.
Yeah.
I knew the Missy Hyatt one. I didn't know the Medusa one. I found out today that Jason Hervey also dated Missy Hyatt at some point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Hervey being the oldest brother from the Wonder Years, if you're
Wayne from the Wonder Years, yeah.
And then the question of the year here. Eddie Gilbert.
Wait, you don't want my Mount Rushmore of USWA?
Please. I want a whole episode on this.
Well, Cowabunga is obviously there.
And then 3 of the Moondogs.
No. And then 3 of the Snowman. 3 different busts of Snowman. That's all you need.
Okay, I dig it. That's bonus content. We were not expecting a Producer Tony Mount Rushmore. All right, so Producer Tony, who's your Mount Rushmore of NAWF? Also, 3 snowmen.
I bet you could come up with a list of top 4 just based on the stories.
Listening to you fools for the past 2 years. Let's see, Arson. He's got to be on there.
We have Arson news, but I don't know if we can share Arson.
Yeah, it's not much yet.
Well, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next Dead or Alive. Take that however you will, I guess. All right, so my NAWF Mount Rushmore, you have to go with Rockin' Randy. I don't care what Pee-wee's relationship is with him. To me, Rockin' Randy is one of the 4 greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. My life Mount Rushmore.
Your life Mount Rushmore
includes Rockin' Randy. The next one is Tweak and Damien, which
wow.
King of Art, Justin Tuttle and Jesse Tuttle at CU Comedy. I love those guys. From day one, they were just like the coolest people, and we always kissed their ass. And I hate kissing their ass on here, but seriously, like some of my favorite matches, some of my favorite stuff. We had good times with them, and I'm very glad that after many years of not talking to them, we're talking again because we didn't burn bridges with them, so that's good. Then
that's 3.
The next one is Long Time for sure. I love Machine Matt. Long Time is also life Mount Rushmore for me. Like him and Rockin' Randy are 2 of the 4 greatest people. Now keep in mind, I still have 2 parents and a wife, so we'll see how this ends up going. And then the last one for me was tough. do I go people who like I trained with, guys like?
If you only have 4 spots, are you giving one spot to both twins? Are you just like carving half their face on one side, the other one's half face on the other side?
Yeah, just like PG-13.
Amazing.
And by the way, it's just a cheap way of getting out of a Mount Rushmore. So
smart.
So the other guys, do I go with people I trained with, like Elijah, Andy Anderson, Arson? Like that's my class, Do I go with guys
What
like...
a class. What a class.
I go with guys like Brandon Blaze or Greg, who are guys who, like, I mean, they trained me pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, I learned a lot from them. Do I go with straight edge Eric Hammers just because I've seen him wrestle at an NAWF show, and I think he's also in my top 4 life Mount Rushmore? And I Eric Freedom, he's all over the internet. He's the reason I have a match on the internet. That's pretty important. But I had to go Yammer.
Wow.
Yammer is my number 4 because he was the man behind the curtain. He was.
Have we talked about Yammer?
I think once or twice we talked about Yammer. Found out his last name is Yamamoto, which is where the name Yammer comes from. He was like the cameraman. He was doing stuff in the studio. I think he was a wrestler before.
He wrestled at one point, yeah.
Yammer was like the glue that held everything together, and he's the glue holding my Mount Rushmore of Rockin' Randy and the Twins. And long time.
Amazing.
What about you, Pete?
When I think Mount Rushmore, like if WWE's Mount Rushmore, it's got to be like top 4 best wrestlers, top 4 guys that I associate with the company, top 4 just best personalities associated with that company. NAWF wasn't exactly known for its wrestling, right? Like the Mount Rushmore is probably like Rockin' Randy, Andy Anderson, the Wisconsin Chicken, and Adrian Lynch. Adrian Lynch. It's not a very if you're talking about like the icons of the promotion. It's not a very like star-studded.
The Ring and a building in Fond du Lac are like 2 of the 4.
And if you pick the Chicken, can't you get like a bunch of guys in that way? Like just
that's a ton. Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, and 01, 02.
Just, any mask guy.
Yeah.
In reality, my Mount Rushmore would probably be just in terms of guys that impacted me and that I don't want to say looked up to, but at least impacted me the strongest. I would probably say Kurt, long time, Derek St. Holmes. I loved his work. I thought he was a funny guy, very good friend. I believe he's the only non-backyard guy who ever came to long time. He came to my kid's birthday party. St. Holmes came to a Royal Rumble party. Nobody else, including Longtime or Kurt, have ever been to a Royal Rumble party. And then the last one I had was Chandler McClure, just a kid I haven't talked to in a long time, but was a good worker back in the day, had a good gimmick, good head on his shoulders, just a good kid. And Randy's probably on there somewhere. I kind of had a mess of a list here, but
great to know that I'm at least 6th.
You were in the NWA for like 6 months.
Yeah, about 7. About 7 months. Derek St. Holmes still does commentary at AAW shows. I see him all the time, and I want to talk to him, but I mean, he's no chance he remembers me. And what am I going to say? Hey, do you remember me? And then I leave. Like that's it. Do you know Dan? Do you know Dan?
Johnny Swift, Peewee.
Well, that's it for the show this week, everybody. It's been fun. Next week, I'm going to try and set up the quote game so we can do that. We're going to find out if Boner's alive. Still don't see him.
Yeah, Sasha's going to try and find his boner.
It might be the first podcast that we miss as we honor Boner. We're going to talk Jimmy Del Rey. We're going to talk, I don't know what else. Musical guest Billy Ocean will be here. What's making me bitter this week is WWE's merch department. I'm pretty sure that they have taken away the buy one, get one for $1 t-shirt offer.
Amazing.
And Peewee is too much of a coward to pay full price, so we are never going to get him to pay off his bet. And so screw you, WWE merch department. I saw that they were doing a 40% off everything sale, but it was not the exact sale, so I didn't even tell Peewee because I know he's not going to do it. Piece of trash. Producer Tony, what's making you bitter? I guess Peewee's making me bitter.
Myself. I'm bitter at myself today, and I'll tell you why. as you know, listening to last week, we got a puppy. We got my girl Daisy. So she has a ton of energy. I think she's in the bottom there next to Sabu, where she belongs.
That's who that is.
we take her and the other 2 dogs to the dog park, and I'm just gonna set the scene for you, okay? My wife has the other 2 dogs who are smaller. There's a big dog side and a small dog side. So she took those 2 dogs to the small dog side. I'm at the big dog side with Daisy, and she's running around playing, having a great time. We're getting ready to leave, and I'm walking towards to get her, and somebody like I turned around and somebody asked me a question about her or something like that, and out of the corner of my eye, I see her shitting like everywhere. Okay. But like I didn't turn around and like I didn't see it like totally, and seconds after that there was another lady walking and she stepped right in it.
Oh no.
And I was like, she didn't see whose dog it was. She didn't see like which dog did it. So I just played it like stupid. I'm like, oh, somebody needs to clean that up. You can't just leave dog crap on the dog park. I mean, come on, people. It's not because I'm lazy. It's just because I didn't get a chance to get to it, and she stepped in it before I got a chance to clean it up. So I'm embarrassed. I feel the shame. But this lady was kind of a grouch and an asshole, so I don't feel that bad for her. And she had a husband who had a beard, so he's probably a big Steve Blackman fan.
And that type of dishonor will not be allowed this Saturday. So you have to, be very honorable in the Billy Joe Travis Golf Memorial.
Well, just like Daisy, it's all out of the system.
Peewee, what's making you bitter this week?
I'm bitter at 2 honorable gentlemen that we've been kissing their ass for the last, 2 years that we've been doing the show. The Phoenix Twins. The Phoenix Twins were not always known as the Phoenix Twins. Originally, they were a tag team together. They dressed identically, and they looked almost identical. Their names were Damien and Tweak, but there was more to it than that. They were Damien Demonic and Tweak Phoenix. How do you have an identical twin gimmick and have 2 different last names? That's all I got.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/bittermarks. New episodes drop every Friday morning at bittermarks.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at bittermarks. Email us, bittermarks@gmail.com. And last but not least, buy our shirts, prowrestlingtees.com/bittermarks.com. That's C-O-M. M as in, maybe we'll take the Phoenix Twins off our Mount Rushmores and replace them with Major Payne and Private Area. Peewee, Producer Tony, and all the smooth babies in the YouTube chat, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you Saturday.
Bye.